Hi, I'm Martin Jarvis, and once again I want to welcome you to another perspective. Today we're going to talk about healing, a very important concept, especially among believers of just about every type of religion. But from a biblical perspective, that's where we're coming from today. It's very important, especially people my age. I'll be 66 this year, 2024 in November. When you hit past the 50s and 60s and all, you start feeling little aches and pains you didn't feel before. Now, I try to exercise, I try to eat right, I'm feeling pretty good, I'm still feeling like I'm improving and I'm getting better, but there still are aspects of me that are slowing down. When I look at some of my classmates and family members that are my age, or a little bit younger, a little bit older, that haven't really embraced the healthy lifestyle that I have over the years, over the past quarter of a century, they're not really sometimes doing as well as I am, because there is a reality of age, entropy. We do fall apart sometimes, and it's kind of expected. Especially when you're younger and you think, well, one day when I get old, you start thinking like that. But then when you start getting old, it's like, wait a minute. I'm still the same person that was thinking when I get old one day. This is still the same mind, the same brain. It's still me. My mind and brain isn't old. Same guy. So we want to prolong our life. And so we're going to talk about healing today, but not just for us, because there are younger people that come down with afflictions. And those are unfortunate as well. So we're going to cover the whole thing today. We're going to talk about healing, how to stay well, and staying well really is in a constant state of healing, because as you interact in the world, as you interact with life, there are things that are coming at you, There's all kinds of little things floating in the air. We think we need to wash our hands, and we should, at times. But we're also breathing in stuff that we just can't see. And so we're really in a constant state. Our bodies really are amazingly made, okay, and function in a way where it's taking care of us and we don't even realize it. Our body is fighting off illnesses, fighting off sicknesses 24/7 that most of the time we have no idea of it until one time it hits and sticks and we're sick. And we say, oh man, I got sick, but your body's been fighting these things all along. That's the way it works. And so part of this whole healing thing is knowing how to help your body, how to aid your body in the fights that you're not even aware of, okay? And but first we want to start in the book of Mark. We want to read a couple verses in the book of Mark, the 11th chapter, starting in the 23rd verse. It says, this is Jesus talking. He said, for verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, and be cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever you desire, when you pray, believe that you receive them, and you shall have them. Okay? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Praying and believing. It's very important. And that if you pray for that mountain to be removed, that mountain will be removed. That's what Scripture says. Okay. So then what is the mountain? Okay. And we want to say then, well, the mountain is whatever it is we're facing. Whatever it is. Maybe if it's a case of health, a sickness, or an illness, or a situation that I'm dealing with in life. That's the mountain. But what I want to share with you today is maybe from a different perspective, okay? What I want to share with you today is that mountain that must be removed is going to be you. You're that mountain. You're the mountain that's in the way from getting your blessing. So that mountain needs to be removed, because that's you. That's our unbelief, okay? It's not the issue itself is what I want to share, at least for this particular discussion. It's that unbelief. And so, there are a lot of things that I've done personally over the years that I try to use as an example to share with folks that if I can do it, you can do it. At 28 years, I had this big change in my life. I was the guy that got the most buzz, drank the most alcohol, just the most crazy. Whatever it was, I always did more than everyone else. I was that guy, okay? You might have those people in your life. You know what I'm talking about. You might be that person. I don't know. But at 28 years old, I woke up in the morning and I decided that was not the man that I wanted to be anymore. Not only was it not the man I wanted to be anymore, I decided that morning that was not the man that I was. I was no longer that man. I got up that morning, I've shared this story before, and I began walking through my apartment, picking out everything in my apartment that I loved. I had stuff from overseas, from Japan, from Korea, really cool chess set. I had trophies, baseball, bowling, karate trophies. I had pictures from the Orient. I had jazz album collection, switchblade collection. I had all kinds of plants. I was growing my own. I had all kinds of stuff. And I just gathered everything in my apartment that I loved that day, which was just about everything, and took it all out to the dumpster and threw that stuff away. The reason was because at that moment, those things that I thought had value to me, those things that had defined me, those things that I had embraced, that even when I went overseas, I would take my trophies with me and set them up in the barracks. Those things represented me. But at that moment, I decided those things didn't represent me. I was a new person. I was a different person. And so I had to get rid of all those false things that were in my... They had no meaning for me anymore. I had no desire for them in my life. It was amazing. My house had an echo that day. And what I want to share with you today is the difference between discipline and a change of life. Okay? Because this is that mountain... is when that thing is still in your life. That desire, that want to, this person who I am that I'm just fighting not to be, okay? That's the mountain. And in order to have what it is you're actually desiring and searching for, that mountain has to be removed. See, discipline to me is really a struggle. It's like you really want something, but you're determined not to do it. Or you really don't want something, but you're determined to do it anyway because you believe that it's best for you. And so that's a struggle. You're struggling because you're tempted and you want it, or you don't want it, you don't want it, but you're struggling and you're struggling, but you're staying strong and staying strong. We see it a lot of times when we decide we want to get in shape and do exercises, but when we'd rather not. And we might be good for about a week or two, Health spas recognize that for many years. They had you sign contracts, year contracts at a time, because they knew you weren't going to hang in there. Because that discipline was not going to last forever. And what I want to share with you today is that discipline that we have at times, that we exhibit at times, discipline is not meant to last forever. Discipline is a thing that's giving you an opportunity. It's giving you a window of opportunity, a door to begin to change your life. Because that discipline is not going to last forever. That door is going to close. So we have to come to a place then to recognize the difference between discipline and simply changing your life. That morning when I got up, it was a determination. That was no longer me. I don't need this stuff. I tell the story a lot of times and people are going, man, don't you feel kind of wish you hadn't gotten rid of all that stuff? No! It wasn't me. And I have to believe that the person I am today, I was 28 then, I'll be 66 this year in 2024. The person I am today and the path, the journey that I've taken to lead me to this place, I wouldn't be here now. I don't even believe I'd be alive now if I had continued the path I was on. No, and if I was struggling in the discipline, I wouldn't have made it. I would have acquiesced. Look, I had tried many times in my life, as I was a cigarette smoker, 2.5 packs a day, to stop smoking cigarettes. Because I knew it was bad for me, and I'd stop. I probably stopped like 20 times, but I was never successful. And I always ended up coming back and smoking again. And funny, when you see, I didn't start off smoking 2.5 packs a day. I ended up smoking 2.5 packs a day because for some reason, whenever you failed to quit, and you started smoking again, you would end up smoking more. And so by that time, having failed maybe 20 times, I was up to 2.5 packs a day. I love to smoke cigarettes. But that cold January morning, that too was one of the things. This is no longer me anymore. And it was no longer a need for discipline because my life was changed. This is just not me. So the alcohol, oh yeah, that's what I threw away too, man. I used to go out every night to clubs, every night. But as well, I have my alcohol cabinets full of like Seagrams and Bacardi and gin and vodka. I threw all that stuff out too. It wasn't me. Now that had been the man that I had been since I left home at 17 and joined the military. Even though I was too young to drink, in the military barracks they'd always have next to the Coke machines, beer machines. And I was always in the clubs, in the Airmen's Club, the NCO Club, in clubs off base or overseas, in the cities, wherever I was stationed. I was always drinking. And I turned 20 years old when I was overseas. So that had been my life then for like 10 years. But one night or one morning, I just decided that wasn't me and that was it. And what I'm suggesting to you, when it's no longer the discipline and it's simply a life change, that's when that mountain is removed. You have to go from believing to knowing, okay? And now as we tie it into this thing about healing, as you walk your walk in life, and so I'm sharing this with people at the moment who are not sick, or might be a little sick, not too sick, because we all have a cough or something going on. But what I want to share is you have to walk in this wellness. You have to walk in this belief that you are well, recognizing who you are, recognizing that God has given you a perfect body, and that's what you're living in right now. You are well. So when something comes against you or something attacks you, you have to remember you have this perfect body that God has given you. Okay? So now part of the walk, before something affects you, I always say, especially to my kids as they were coming up, it's a lot easier to stay well than it is to get well after you're sick. Okay? So take care of yourself. Okay? We should be eating healthy. We know what to do. We know what we should be eating. If you don't, you got AI now. It used to be Google, it used to be Siri. Now you can go right to AI, and AI will give you everything that you need to know to be healthy. What kind of food you need to be eating. You need to stop eating junk food. Stop eating processed foods, okay? Begin eating fresh fruits and meats and fish and vegetables and all that good stuff, right? This is the walk, okay? This is the walk to stay well, to stay healed, okay? Take care of yourself. You need to exercise. These are the things. We talk about, we talk about, because I was raised in the church, about defiling the temple. So, well, that's because you're cussing. Or that's because you're drinking alcohol. Or that's because you're smoking cigarettes. Or you're going out in the clubs and all this stuff. But defiling the temple to me then is recognizing what this temple needs to be healthy and not doing for it what we need to do, okay? So there's a biblical story about a particular master that left a couple of his servants, because he was going away to a far land, and left them with some talents, with some money to do something with while he was gone. And as it turned out, there were 3 of them. One of them, he had like 5 talents, the master had given him. And he had taken those talents out and he had invested them and did this with them, did that with them, and increased the value than what the master had given him. And the guy that the master had given 3 talents to, he did the same thing and increased the value. Oh, it wasn't as much as the guy with the 5. He increased the value from what he had. And the guy that had 1, he took what he had and he just buried it in the ground. He didn't do anything with it. When the master came back, he went to the guy. He went to the guy he gave 5 to. And he said, this is what I got left. I got all this I made. The master was happy and rewarded that guy. The second guy said, well, you gave me 3, but this is what I got left. I got all this. And the master was happy and rewarded that guy too. The guy who had 1 said, look, let me dig this up. This is what you gave me. Here it is back. The master was angry. What I'm sharing with you is what have we all been given? What is the biggest prize, the most valuable prize that any of us have been given as believers from the divine? It's our own selves, our own lives. What are we doing with our lives? Are we making it stronger? Are we making it better? Or are we kind of sedentary, buried somewhere, and not really improving at all? Okay. So this is what I'm suggesting is this is part of the mountain, is keeping that mountain, out of the way if you walk in faith. And so walking in faith, Scripture tells us that faith without works is dead, okay? That means you can have all the faith and the belief in the world, but where is it being exemplified? Where is it being manifested in your life, in your walk, in taking care of that which the Master has given you charge over? Are you a good steward of this, your body, your temple, that which the Master has given you? Keep yourself healthy. Man, I've been, on this kick of health, ever since I was 28. But not really still knowing the things I needed to know. I was eating fast foods every day. I was doing all kinds of stuff. But as I walk, as I grow, I struggle and strive to find ways to make myself better. Man, anytime I'm in a place like a grocery store, I go to the magazine section and look at the health foods. And now with the internet and all this stuff, we know And so I'm better and better now, and my diet is so pristine now. It's amazing. I wish I had been doing this when I was younger, but as you walk, just improve, get better. Don't continually be degrading that which God has given you to take care of. See, one of the problems, even in the church, the problem is there's a tremendous weight issue in the church because there seems to be not too many things as church people we can do that's illegal, right? And so all we got to do is, go to restaurants and go to movies. Go to movies and go to restaurants, eat big meals at home, at Big Mama's house. Everybody come over on Sunday and eat a giant meal and all this stuff. We have to stop doing that. we have to recognize that's that mountain that's in our lives. And we have to begin, wearing that mountain down, getting it down, getting it low, remove that mountain. Because the reality is if we don't take care of ourselves, eventually it's probably going to catch up with us. And it's going to manifest itself in some kind of illness. And in many cases, in most cases, especially as we're getting older, we're not going to be able to handle that. It's going to take us out. That's what happens. So we need to begin to stay healthy. That's part of that walk. And that's sort of just appreciating what God has given us. And just staying healthy. We know what to do. We need to eat right. We need to exercise. We need to get enough rest, and that's my issue, and I'm still working on. But we need to take care of these bodies that God has given us better so we don't get terribly sick, okay? That's how we stay well, okay? And now for those of us who are already sick, how do we get well? Okay, those of us who didn't take care of ourselves, those of us who got kind of jammed up because we're kind of lackadaisical about the things that we should have been doing all along. That's most of us, in this country and across the world. We just don't do what we need to do. We don't see an urgency when we are well. We only see the urgency when the Philistines have come upon us, when we are not well. And so how do we get well? And so a lot of it, well, there are two things. One thing, we have to, first of all, of course, start doing physically what we should have been doing all along. We need to start eating right, healthy. I don't need to go into detail. You could look that up, or you probably already know. And as well, we need to exercise. That's it. That's what we need to be doing. Now if we have an affliction that has come upon us, okay, we can't get depressed. That's the first thing we do is we get depressed. And it's easy to get depressed, especially if we realize we brought this on ourselves. But even if we haven't, it's easy to get depressed when we're no longer 100%. And so what I'm suggesting today is the exercise part is very important to continue even when we're sick. Because usually that sickness, that infirmity, the injury, whatever it is, it's not the entire body. So whatever part of your body that's infirmed or that's sensitive or that's sick or whatever, okay, keep that right and tender and, cater to that. But continue with what you're supposed to be doing with the other 95% of your body. Don't let your whole 100% of your body, do nothing simply because you have a small piece of it that's not well. I had that situation myself. I had a terrible abdominal injury about 10 years ago from lifting dumbbells the wrong way. I pulled something in my stomach terribly, And it took about 9 months, but I walked like this. I believed this. And I found a workout, a cardio workout, martial art, which I used to do, is like 1,000 punches, 900 kicks. And I started doing that, recognizing that 4% of my body was hurting, but 90% of my body was well. So my exercise was focusing on 96% or so of my body. And anytime I do something that would, irritate this, I'd take it easy a little bit, but I would continue just as hard as everything about me that was okay. I was exercising. And by the way, that's still the exercise I use today. My cardio, 1,000 martial art punches, 900 kicks in 40 minutes. I've been doing that for 10 years now because after I was well, I just continued. It was cardio. Okay? So the point is, don't let your whole body stop functioning simply because of one piece of you that's not well. Okay? I remember once years ago as a mailman in the inner city, man, I wasn't feeling well at all. I was feeling kind of sickly. I had to hand the mail and I'm walking fast, trying to lift this mail. I'm starting to get sick. All of a sudden it was coming up, man. I just bent my head behind a house, threw up, and just kept on walking. Okay? because the rest of my body was fine. My stomach and my head wasn't feeling too good, but the rest of me was fine, and I finished my job that day. That's where we have to come to. We have to stop being so weak, stop being so soft, stop having to go lay down just because, or whatever. No, whatever part of your body is well, continue exercising that. And see, as I was exercising my entire body, that small abdominal piece, I'm no doctor, but this is my theory. This is what I believe happened, that it was weak in here. It was strained in here. I had pulled something terribly, but I was exercising and strengthening everything around it. The muscles just kind of encompassed that weak part and eventually tightened it up until I was well about 9 months later, okay? So the point is, don't allow yourself to be sidelined just because a piece of you isn't feeling well. Continue, keep going, okay? And at the same time, then you have to create this belief, okay? Sort of like we have to make sure and get rid of that mountain. That's why it's so important to keep ourselves healthy when we're healthy instead of trying to get there when we're sick, because it's very difficult. It's a lot more difficult to believe when we're sick than it is to believe when we're well and we're attempting to keep ourselves healthy, okay? Because it's that mountain in there. It's that mountain that we removed because of our discipline. We got rid of the discipline and we changed our life, so the mountain was gone. But now you're dealing with this illness. That mountain is there. It's hard to move that mountain of disbelief when you're actually dealing with the sickness, but you have to. So how do you do it? That's the way I did it when I had that abdominal injury. You have to believe. That's what we just read in Mark. You have to believe. If you believe, because you believe, that mountain is removed. If you don't believe, the mountain isn't going to be removed. So you have to believe. So how do I believe when I feel this pain every day? Okay. That's what I tell you. And what I'm going to share with you right now is not just the answer to the answered prayer about your health. It's the key to the answered prayer about everything in your life. Whether it's your kids, whatever they're going through, maybe they've moved away and they're in another state like mine are. One is going to college, one is living his life, and you're trying to, believe and pray. What do you do, when you pray? How do you move that mountain? And especially when you have an illness or you have some things that are very close or something you're getting ready to lose or just whatever it is that you pray for. What's the same concept I'm getting ready to share with you right now? It's removing that mountain, because that mountain is unbelief. So what you do, and it's not really difficult, what you do is you pray. So we'll just say it's the abdominal injury. God, please heal my abdominal injury, okay? And then what? What do you do the next day? What do you do the next day when you're still sick or you still got something going on? What do? You pray again. God, heal my abdominal injury. God, heal my abdominal injury. Every day, right? Well, that's the exact wrong thing to do. Because if I pray and ask God to heal my abdominal injury, right? And then the next day I'm praying and asking God to heal my abdominal injury, that next day I'm just admitting to myself that I'm not healed. And so every day I pray for God to heal my abdominal injury, I'm just affirming the fact that I'm not healed. We don't want to do that. We're trying to remove that mountain, right? We're trying to get belief, right? And what is faith? The evidence of things not seen, right? So what you do, whatever it is, but we're talking about the abdomen just as an example, we say, God, heal my abdomen, please, however you want to say it. The next day, God, thank you for healing my abdomen. God, thank you for healing me. Thank you for healing me. Every day you're just thanking. Because as you continue doing that every day, you're building your faith. Because you're no longer saying, God healed me, because I'm not healed, God healed me. God healed me. Thank you for healing me. Thank you for healing me. Because once the belief is there, that mountain is removed. And the mountain is the thing that's keeping you from attaining your victory, from attaining your healing, or whatever it is that you're desiring. Okay? So it's the belief part. And so that's what you can even add in there. God, help my unbelief. Okay? Thank you for helping my unbelief. Thank you for healing me. You're always thankful. Only pray for something one time. And then every time after that, you're thanking God that it's done. Thanking God that it's done. I may not have the evidence yet, from the realm I'm at, but from the realm you're at, God, it's done. And I thank you that it's done. I thank you that it's done. For me, I used to put lotion on after my shower every morning. And I would get to my abdomen and I'd just say, thank you for the healing. Thank you for the healing. Yeah, I'm healed. Thank you for the healing. And eventually I was doing it every day. It came to the point where I wasn't even realizing I was doing it when I was doing it. And right there is where the belief is beginning to knock down that mountain. Because you're believing. Because what keeps us from believing are our conscious thoughts. what we want to do, our subconscious has to buy into it, and that's where the belief is. And so you just keep doing that. You create the environment for your subconscious to buy into, because that's where we're screwed up. In pretty much every aspect of life, it's our subconscious. Our subconscious has already made the decisions about everything before it even gets to our conscious thought, okay? So based on the environments, and the influences that we come into and come up with and all this stuff, our subconscious makes these determinations before we consciously realize it, okay? So this is what we're doing. So when we're creating, what we're doing is we're creating a new environment for ourselves. We're consciously creating a new environment that we know our subconscious is going to buy into. In a way, we're consciously tricking our subconscious into buying into the environment to which we've set up. And that environment is an environment of healing. An environment is an environment of wellness. And so we can influence positively an environment by creating in that environment everything that we want our subconscious to buy into. So every day you're saying, thank you for the healing, I'm well, thank you for the healing, I'm well. And then you're consciously not even realizing you're saying it, your subconscious has bought into that. That's the key. What your subconscious is buying into, and that's the belief. When you got your subconscious believing, the mountain is gone. And that's it, man. 9 months, I was well. This happens in so many aspects of my life, even things that might seem hopeless, like when you've prayed for your kids, and then you're thanking God for your kids, and it seems like it's 5 months later, a year later, 2 years later, and you're thanking God for closing doors behind them, and for opening doors before them, and for allowing them to see themselves as you see them, allowing them to see the world as you see the world, and to see you to the best of their ability as you are, and all this stuff, and really the lifestyle isn't changing. Nah. You walk by faith and not by sight. Thank you for that. I don't see it, but thank you for it, because I know it's going to happen. And for me anyway, I mean, sometimes I can look back at my life and say, I changed. And it really wasn't, I don't believe it was a conscious decision. I believe it was a God decision that I needed to change. And that's what happens. So that helps when you begin looking around, looking back in your life, looking at situations that were kind of dismal and they were kind of fixed. That will give you faith as well. Man, after my abdominal injury, I can have other things. Especially as a male man, I wasn't so much getting sicknesses. I was getting injuries and I was getting hurt. But it was like I could, sort of like David in Scripture, where he'd remember when he's getting ready to face Goliath, and he remembered when he fought the lion, he remembered when he fought the bear. Those memories of victories began to encourage him, and that encouragement began to move that mountain, create that faith within him. Okay, so as well, look back on the little things, look back on the things that once you were struggling with, once you were suffering with, and they were fixed. You're in another situation now that will be that thing that will give you encouragement the next thing you're going through for real. So belief. Okay, hopefully you'll be walking in such a way that many of those afflictions will not come upon you. But if they do, I mean, it's going to be a longer way out, and it's going to be a struggle. It seemed like a struggling way out because it may not come fast enough. Now what I would do, I mean, I'm just sharing everything. This is the way I roll. This is the way I live, okay, is what I'm sharing with you right now. Is that I don't care at what point to where you've jacked yourself up health-wise, okay, and now you're facing this issue. You need to start doing right immediately. If you hadn't been eating right, start eating right. If you hadn't been drinking the right type foods like protein drinks and whatever, or if you've been drinking soda and fruit juice and all this stuff that's not good for you as well, you got a AI at your fingertips. Go to AI and say, AI, what do I need to be eating and ingesting to be in pristine health? It'll print it out, and you just live like that. Okay? That's the way you're going to walk. And what I'm going to tell you is so you get that list of what you got to do each day. And then it's like, how they say that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Well, it's true. And so what you can know is that regardless of how sick you are, if you've eaten right that first day, you are better off than you were the day before. And each subsequent day after that, continue. Even though you don't see any habit. Suppose you were like 500 pounds, and you're trying to lose weight, so you're eating right that first day. You're not going to say anything. You're not going to feel anything. But what I'm suggesting to you is you are still better than you were the day before. And you just keep doing that. Walk by faith and not by sight. Walk by faith and not by sight. Do what you're supposed to. Do what you're supposed to. You walk yourself right out of that hole. Before you know it, you look at yourself and say, wow, what happened to me? So there's a way to stay well, and there's the way to get well. Okay? And the number one thing is to realize that in order to move that mountain, you're going to have to believe. And so what we've shared today is how to believe, how to have that faith to move that mountain. How's that?